Good morning. I'm Larry Williams. I'm the President and CEO of TAG, Technology Association of Georgia. Delighted to be here this morning with Bill VanCuren, the CIO at NCR. So we're going to have a brief conversation this morning about some of the things that are going on in the world that affect technology and driving innovation and what makes Georgia such a prime place for this. Good morning, Bill.
Morning, Larry. Thanks for having me in. I'm excited to have a chat with you this morning.
Well, I'm delighted to have you here. So let's sort of start at the top. What's going on and what makes Georgia such a great place to have a technology shop and to drive innovation?
No, I think Georgia is a great place to run a company and lead a technology organization. For me personally, I can tell you that the access to the university system here is very, very important, very robust. We're able to recruit and retain a lot of talent in the region, and I think a lot of that has to do with the quality of life here in Atlanta and Georgia specifically. It's a great climate. It's a great part of the country to live in, raise a family, and access to recreational areas, mountains, beaches. For us, having moved from the Midwest here, we really enjoy all those aspects. I think I would have to say also for a large company like NCR, access to the airports helps us get anywhere in the world.
The global connectivity.
With Atlanta Hartsfield, you can pretty much go direct flight just about anywhere in the world, and that's for a big company that's not only moving employees in and out for training as well as recruiting executives or travelers coming in for board meetings and all those reasons. So those are probably three reasons we really like Georgia.
Those are great reasons.
Yeah.
So as you're managing your business, what are some of the technology and innovation megatrends and even some of the details that you're observing and looking at these days?
I've been in technology a long time, Larry. 35 years and counting in this profession, and there's always big changes coming. You ask about megatrends. I would say right now, a couple that are coming at us fast and furious and challenging us to keep the workforce trained up. I would say AI, right? Intelligent automation, robotics. That whole area is challenging us to recruit different talent. I would say, not just computer science, but other skills in that area, like industrial engineering, data scientists, to prepare for, I'll say, more predictive automation. Artificial intelligence in general is challenging us to use the data we have. We have mountains of data regarding our customers and industries and markets. And then how do we take that data and write the algorithms that can predict what's going to happen and inform our information decision system so that our management can be better informed, make predictive decisions. So those trends are all happening fast and furious. I would say also, the proliferation of endpoints, IoT, Internet of Things, whether that's smart cities or having sensors on manufacturing floors or, in our case, our customers such as large retailers being able to put sensors on all the endpoints to make sure that they are up, running actively, downloaded with the latest software. So again, IoT and the proliferation of what we call IPv6, which gives us a broader addressable range of endpoints. That's another big trend that I think is impacting us in our industry as well.
And then collecting the data in a continuous loop.
Yeah, that's a good point. With all the endpoints now, we have the data, and then along with that comes the need for massive storage. Well, none of us want to invest in our data centers for a lot of storage. It's only used periodically, so thus the move to the cloud, where we can build capacity, burst capacity, so that data flows in from the endpoints. We put that data in the cloud and use it when it's needed to optimize the economies of that variable cost. So, yeah, that would be another one.
And so in blockchain, are you seeing that as a trend that's really continuing and having global
impact? We're studying blockchain. I think a lot of companies are looking for the real practical application or the killer use case. I don't know personally if I've seen the killer use case for that. We're looking at that. A lot of testing that's going on in the security area. Is blockchain really secure or not? That's a big question, particularly in our industries that we serve. So that's a big part of us being ready for blockchain, is really doing a very thorough assessment and testing around the security of it.
You mentioned great access to talent here. So what type of skill sets are you looking for today? I know I talked to a lot of people in the industry, and one of the challenges they find is that it's continuous education. That it's not just coming out, they're not hard skills necessarily coming out of school, but the industry is changing so much. People have to be self-learners and really keep up with trends as well. Are you experiencing that as well?
Well, I think that I should have said that's also a macro trend because of the data would say if we just take this region in particular, there's more jobs that are open than there are graduates coming out of secondary college education, right? So I think I was on a CIO panel last week, Larry. I think the number is something like 32,000 jobs, higher than what the number of graduates are, right? So demand exceeds supply. It's a problem, and so that then enables us looking at other things. Do we look at 2-year degree graduates? Yes. Do we look at more folks coming back from the military? Yes. Do we dip into high school level internships? Yes. All of the above. Just because of the pure numbers problem you have, just with the demand for technology skills exceeding supply.
All hands on deck.
Yeah.
To get it done.
Yeah.
And
the other trend I'll say, just add quickly, Larry, is let's just take Georgia Tech, which is right next door to us. All of the graduates coming out of Tech nowadays, at least in the engineering program, had at least one data analytics course. So what used to be a major, now you can count on all the degreed people. So if you're putting somebody into mechanical engineering or industrial engineering or computer science, all of them have had a broad background already, or some class work already in data analytics, which is important because that, I'd say, of all the things that we look for in the graduates is that fundamental ability to manage and analyze the data and present the data as part of their day-to-day job. That's the other big change that we're seeing in the education system.
That contextual side of putting theory into practice and then taking the unstructured business challenges.
That's right.
And putting that into, I had a guy told me one time that, it's great for someone to show up with a resume full of certifications, but he really wanted to put them on the whiteboard and watch them turn a word problem into a math problem. And that was and just seeing their work and how they approached it was an important part to them.
Well said.
Yeah. So as you look at the talent and is upskilling really something that we can look at? Are there ways for us to train people without 4-year degrees, with 2 years, or taking people with a baseline of skills and getting them up to speed to the quality that you need today?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that has to be. I mean, I think that was true before we had the supply-demand issue. I think you're always looking for career progression, job rotations. I mean, gone are the days where you start in a job and just stay vertical and promote all the way up to the highest C-level in that particular function. I mean, we've always, at least large companies where I've worked, we've always looked at rotations to get cross-functional skills.
Right.
Become more of a generalist as you progress to be well-rounded, and always a mind towards the customer.
Right.
And those rotations, you're always looking for what's the customer experience, what's the customer requirement, how do I serve the customer, and no matter where you are in the company, you got to always remind the folks what's the training required to satisfy the customer, keep them happy.
Yeah. So in sort of an economic development theory, it's that cluster approach really does work. Whenever you have a big, rich ecosystem, it benefits everyone. It's like this idea of, a lot of restaurants together actually benefits all of the restaurants because there's that churn there. Wall Street wouldn't be Wall Street in the finance committee if it was just one. And part of that is the cross-pollination of talent.
And I think what you're describing now is what you've done with TAG. What TAG has been to me since I've been here in the region. TAG represents the technology ecosystem for Georgia. Yep. So what you just described about the sum of the parts is bigger. The whole is bigger than the sum of the parts. Actually, when you think about what TAG does, it brings us together: large companies, small companies, suppliers, consumers of technology, working on the STEM programs that feed into next generation workforce.
Yep.
All those things are interconnected, and I think Larry, you've done a good job. Pulling all of this together in an association so that we all have common interests of progressing the overall technology maturity of the region. It requires all those things.
Yeah. It's
in
a
an
complex ecosystem, and one thing I like about Georgia is I really do see it as, we're a top 5 technology state, but how, we're really becoming and rapidly a global innovation hub. And to me, it's innovation that really drives job growth.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it's going to be companies like
We
NCR
are-
that stays at the
A lot of
forefront.
people don't realize
innovation.
that we are top 5.
Yep.
Actually, last week at the conference I was at, that as far as the number of jobs in IT, it's top 4.
Top 4.
Job demand.
Right.
Right up there with New York, Toronto, and San Francisco.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize this has really become a technology region.
Exactly. And people are flocking here
Yeah.
for a lot of reasons. How has either TAG or just in general helped you in your career? How have you helped progress through, like you said, you've been doing this for 35 years. You're king of the mountain.
Well, the first 25 years weren't in Georgia, wasn't in Atlanta. So
Yeah.
I'd say right up front, TAG helped me connect and network with my
Yep.
peers and with some of the local suppliers.
Uh-huh.
I guess some national suppliers as well, but primarily what we talked about earlier is the Georgia ecosystem of technology.
Yeah.
So getting connected with like-minded CIOs who are looking to figure out some of their best practices and trade lessons learned with my fellow CIO peers and get to know better folks like yourself and others that are working on behalf of Georgia, maybe at the state level in some cases. We've done some things. And also just furthering the recognition of what technology means to the economy.
Yep.
And some of the events that we participated in, and certainly pulled in a lot of nonprofits in that journey as
Yep.
well, and got to meet some of the more important nonprofits and help their cause here locally. So those would be the things I think TAG has helped me network better.
Yeah, a lot of people say that it's it's an ecosystem that's already cohesive, and we give them an ability to just plug in, so they don't have to go and hunt and peck for all of these things. And when you think about the ecosystem, large companies, growth companies, entrepreneurs, capital, academia, research, the nonprofit networks, the government, all of that is what makes a deep, rich, robust ecosystem. And I think one great thing about Georgia is that I think there's a genuine desire for people, that people want each other to be successful. Even sometimes when they're competitors, they know that growing that ecosystem is going to benefit us all. So appreciate all your contributions to that. You've been on the board of TAG for a long time.
I have. My attendance is spotty because of my busy schedule, but when I can get there, I try to represent a point of view.
But you're always engaged.
Help the cause. That's true.
Regardless
Yeah.
of that. So glad to see that. So in technology, any advice to those that workforce that we're talking to, how they build their careers and entry points and then career paths?
Well, no two careers are alike. So I think a lot of people are mistaken to look for that cookbook or that flow chart on exactly how do I get to the CEO office or the CIO office. There is no one way.
Uh-huh.
My advice to people is always work hard, keep your customers happy, and always remember the most important relationship you have is the one with your boss.
That's right.
Right? They're setting your objectives and they're measuring your performance. So, no, I think it's as we spoke earlier. It's a great time to be in technology. It's a great time to live in Atlanta and Georgia proper. A lot of companies here, a lot of industries to choose from. Here in the region. So, pick the industry where you like. Pick a passion and something you like to do.
That's right.
And then grow from there. I mean, that's pretty general advice, but I think it's time tested.
Yep. One thing I've thought about, with Georgia is that, we talk about being top 4, and you were mentioning that as well. We didn't get here by accident. We didn't just stand up yesterday and declare victory. That evolution of talent, that evolution of ingenuity has been happening here over decades. And, that's how we've built this deep, rich content and expertise in fintech, because it didn't start with digital fintech. It started with check processing.
Right.
And then move through that. Cybersecurity, a lot of the work with the universities, working with government, then helping to evolve that ecosystem, starting with companies like ISS, starting up here, SecureWorks, and they're still run out of here. And then and then that evolved into mobile security, like with AirWatch, and the first mobile security application that Apple let onto the iPhone platform that made it the dominant in the industry. So it really is a continuity of innovation. Do you keep an eye on some of the startups that are happening here? Just because I know you're just naturally curious about what's going on.
We do. We moved our headquarters to Midtown to be close to Georgia Tech, and coincidentally, that also put us close to some of the startups happening there. There are startups. What I found interesting, Larry, is it's not just centralized downtown. There are startups being organized in Buckhead, startups being organized in Peachtree Corners.
Right.
So, for me, Atlanta's become Marietta as well. We're seeing little pockets of startups, which I think is another healthy sign that the region is doing well. And it's not just concentrated to Tech Square, where I think most of the startups next to Georgia Tech and ATDC historically was the hotbed of startups. We're seeing them come up in all the other areas of Metro Atlanta, inside and outside the perimeter.
It really is. And I'll add around the state, and universities are a great component of this. Georgia Tech's a phenomenal school, but we've got a lot of phenomenal schools here. Georgia State, Kennesaw State, the cyber hub that's being developed in Augusta, Columbus, another fintech center, and InsurTech really popping up there. So this connectivity around the state is really phenomenal. And there's so many areas that we can explore, everything from ag tech all the way to, trends in cybersecurity to, I heard a recent stat that I'm at least proliferating, and that is that 80% of commercial cryptocurrency transactions are processed through Georgia.
Well, the majority of the large payments companies are located here. So I think any statistic that's fintech related, we're going to be.
We got an advantage.
We're going to have a very large percentage of anything that's fintech, right? With
there's a great
3 or 4
platform.
really large payments companies here, NCR's here,
Yep.
obviously banking and fintech company and others. So not surprised about that statistic.
Well, that's staying at the forefront of innovation, right?
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. This is Larry Williams with the Technology Association of Georgia. I'm here with Bill VanCuren, CIO of NCR. Bill, thanks for spending a few minutes with us.
It's been a pleasure this morning, Larry. Thanks for having me over.
Thanks, Bill.